Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Full Spectrum Podcast. My name is Trey.
I am Rungren.
We've got some cool stuff to talk about tonight, as we always do. But real quick, just wanted to throw this out there. We're at 976 subs on YouTube, and we very much appreciate that. 24 away from 1,000, and that is awesome, and we really appreciate that. And the Twitch side as well is doing great, and thanks to all your support. We can't thank you enough for that.
That's awesome. Very happy with that. Thank you, everybody.
But let's get into weeks.
Oh, man.
24 bank accounts. Announce yours for 5 seconds. Yes. How's your week been, Rungren?
All right. It's not been bad. Look, I don't want to hear it. I rearranged the studio again. All right. There's some stuff going on. I think last week I talked about the computer. That's going to be the new studio computer.
Yeah.
Should finally be having a graphics card come in Friday.
Nice.
It doesn't have to be spectacular, but it'd be coming in. Found it on sale, so good price. But my lovely girlfriend bought me a whole lot of sound absorbing material for in here. It's not soundproofing. I may slip up and say soundproofing while I'm talking about this, but it's not really. It's sound absorbing. It stops the echoes and stuff. Because I don't want to lose the sound of the room. Yeah. I just don't want to, anyway. So I got a whole bunch of that coming in. We've got a few other things to set up for soundproofing. So I'm not rearranging the room again. But yeah, there's we start another project. But it does. You've been over here since I got this desk over there. There is more room.
Yeah, there's a lot more room.
It's going to work better for us for a number of situations. So, like 24 count. 96 square feet is one of the materials we're using, and that's going to be like that the foam with the angles. It's a blue and a black, so those we patched out. And then we've got the whole dang foam alphabet like you'd see like in a kid's playroom.
Right.
We're going to use that for soundproof, and the kids don't need to learn how to read. So I'm not sure where that going. And then we found these little carpet squares. We got 20 of these little 1x1 carpet squares. Yeah. For $3, and so that's 10 by 10. That's gonna be 5x4 area as well. Yeah. So by Friday, it's gonna be a whole bunch of stuff here, and the foam things will be weird because we got to take them out and let them grow for a day or two. Right. And unpack. So all that's right now. My week has been waiting since the past few days. I did get to dive on some Lotro though. Yeah. Yeah. Went and got me a level on Rungren.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm very excited about. I don't know. I'm very excited about the 15th. It's like it's one of the only things that'd be like if somebody asks me if they want, hey, should I play Lotro? It's like just wait a few more days and do it. I wouldn't tell them to start right now. Right.
Well, and for anybody who doesn't know, when they hear him talk about the studio, they may go, "Well, you just do that for the D&D podcast, right?" Well, no. Just as a reminder, that is part of it for sure. But Rungren also uses that studio for his music, which you can find over on Rumble and on YouTube.
Yes. Yeah. Which if you put in Rungren on Rumble, just my video showed up. If you do that on YouTube, the other stuff's going to show up. Yeah. As well.
Yeah, it gets a little bogged down.
Yeah.
And some of your podcast appearances as well.
Yeah.
But he makes good stuff, so check it out.
Thursday. Okay. Yeah, so by Thursday. Oh. So yeah, there'll be stuff growing in the studio while we're doing the D&D podcast. I'll have to figure that out. But that has put me. I'm a little bit behind on music right now. Yeah. Last week I'd hurt my wrist, so I was kind of behind that way. It's just been kind of like that. So a little bit behind music. They're still going up every Sunday. There will be a song going up, and the album will still be coming out on the 24th on Spotify and all that good stuff. So you can go listen to all that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to this week. Like I said, a lot of that. Lotro was fun. That was because I played it on. I went from a 24-inch monitor up to a much bigger TV screen monitor. So yeah, I had to play Lotro on it. So that was
of course.
Fun. So I dove into that. I'm still still helping the dwarves along in that. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that just stood out this week, but it's been kind of, like I said, shopping and looking and the normal stuff. And I think that's about it, my friend. How has your week been?
Well, my week's been pretty good. I put a lot of time into hobbying 40K stuff, and I have a video to show you.
Yeah.
Of what the week's work turned out to be, which I'm going to hit play on now. I built a Dreadnought, specifically a Death Company Dreadnought. That was a lot of work.
That looks good.
But it's a lot bigger than it looks like there too. It looks kind of stompy and squat, but when you put it next to a Space Marine, it's pretty big. And then I made a Sanguinary Priest.
How many pieces on that one?
The Dreadnought, I think, was 77 pieces, I think, something like that.
Golly.
But a lot of them were like the little claw pieces and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
Then I painted an entire squad of Blood Angels for a kill team.
Okay.
And, I think they're looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how they turned
man. Out. They look really good.
It's a lot of tiny pieces, but then I painted some terrain. My girlfriend's orcs are death skulls, which means they're blue. I use a lot of blue in the terrain. I also mixed some paints to be able to get that rust color, which I'm really happy with. I think it turned out really nice. And that's it for this week.
That's very nice though. Very nice. I do like that. Yes. Good job, sir.
Thank you.
Good job.
That terrain too, once it's painted, will be part of 3 different sets of terrain that we own. That'll be good for 40K. It'll be good for Kill Team. It'll be good for Necromunda. But it'll also be good for if we get into any other minis or for things like D&D. That terrain is going to be good for basically anything. So,
fair enough. Fair enough, sir.
Oh, I was hoping nobody would be able to hear it. I'm sorry that you had to hear the breathing on that video. I thought I had it muted on this end. I'm sorry about that.
No, that wasn't him close. That wasn't him close to the camera. That was him looking at the 40K pictures.
That's right. That's right.
We're getting very excited.
That's right. Yeah. No. My breathing is rough on that phone. I had the phone out to like here. You can still hear it, but that's how loud my breathing is without a mic to cover it.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Did you get to play anything?
I did. I got to play a little bit of stuff. I played some Genshin Impact.
Of course you did.
And got back into that. There's a new update there, and it's pretty cool. Liking that so far. And then I got back into FF14. And did some leveling there. Got my warrior to 84 on the way to 90. And you may say, well, Trey, how did you have time to do that? Well, that's because I finished Elden Ring.
Okay, yes, you did. There's a video that hit today, wasn't it?
Yeah, the review's up. And I mentioned that I'd been a busy little boy earlier. I finished Elden Ring, recorded the review for Elden Ring, and then almost immediately recorded like a 2-hour boss tier list for the entire Soul series. Because, hey, I needed to talk more about that game, I guess. Do I play as a cat girl or a bunny girl in 14? I do have one of both, but my main character is a boring-looking human because he has the best eye patch, and I love eye patches. No, I'm super stoked for that. Elden Ring, great game. Really enjoyed it. The review is up if you want to hear me gush about it for 20 minutes. But the other video that I recorded, again, it took me almost 2 hours, but I ranked every single boss in every single game out of that 6-game series. There's a lot of bosses.
Feeling it.
A lot of bosses. You can really tell towards the end too. I start to just fall apart. Like, this is just 2 of this thing. Here you go. But no, I did that, and that was a lot of fun. And then I edited all of that together. And then I also picked up Guild Wars 2 again for the sake of another video I want to make.
Okay.
And,
we talked about Guild Wars 2 not too long ago. They got a new DLC coming.
It's already out.
Is it already
End
out?
of Dragons.
Already out. Okay.
That's why I picked it back up again. And then, as we've talked about, when the Lotro expansion stuff hits, when the graphical update hits,
Yeah.
I'll check that back out for another video too. So there's
Yeah.
lots of stuff coming content wise. I also, speaking of being busy and being content stuff coming up, I watched some more episodes of Yowamushi Pedal. Because that's the first anime review really that we're doing on the channel. So that is I am 26 episodes out of 38 for the first season. I'm almost done there.
Almost there. Yeah.
And I'm really enjoying it so far. I don't love all the main characters, but I love sports anime despite not loving sports in real life. And it's very good. And so I'm gonna finish that soon and get a review up for that. Do one for the Surge 1 and 2, Sekiro and Code Vein. I have rolled Sekiro into the Souls boss ranking, but I should do one for Code Vein. And then I never finished Surge 1 and 2. Sorry. Oh, I love Hajime no Ippo. Hajime no Ippo is so good. I've watched and read Hajime no Ippo. I've watched most of Haikyuu, but not finished it because I want to do a review on that. I've seen bits of Diamond of Ace. I've seen Prince of Tennis. I've seen Ice Shield 21, which, by the way, nobody ever told me football could be that cool. All you need is a team running across the field and a guy going, "Give it back to Costa!" as he
sir, I would like to
around
introduce you
somebody.
to a movie called Shaolin Soccer.
I haven't seen that.
Then we need to stop the podcast and you need to go watch that movie. No. Have you seen the? I know you've seen the other one, right? What was it called? Oh no, like okay, I got another mission. Hold on, I'm putting this on notes. I'm not gonna forget this.
No, sports anime is great. I've also seen Kuroko no Basuke, and I should probably watch Free. I watched Yuri on Ice.
Yes, Dark. Yes.
I love sports anime. Sports anime is so cool. And
Then
Yowamushi Pedal hit it.
Then you will understand after you see it why it's such a crime that
I
you have
haven't
not.
seen.
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah.
What I like most about sports anime is that, so the same thing happens in Gundam Build Fighters, which I don't want to spoil too much for you here, but like you can't develop an interesting dynamic between hero and villain in a series where people are having to fight and kill each other, right? So you can have an interesting dynamic between a hero and a main villain, but you can't have just like, hey, they're clashing again after a life or death fight, you know, because somebody dies.
Yeah.
And so in sports anime, you don't have that. Instead, you have, hey, we went up against them last year. They were really good. We have this dynamic with them. We want to beat them this year. If we win, they also lose.
Well, Kung Fu Hustle is not a sports movie, but God, that's the other one. Kung Fu Hustle. You need make a note, Dre.
Okay.
You have to watch those two.
I'm making a note on the bottom of the docket right now. Shaolin Soccer.
Both those movies are absolutely yes. Those are amazing, man. And please watch them and let me know what you think.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need to. Also, with sports anime, real quick, just gonna throw out. I've seen Ashita no Joe as well, and I've seen the first episode of Megalobox. They are sports anime is good. Yeah, Megalobox is like a spiritual successor to Ashita no Joe.
Okay.
I have not seen Kung Fu Hustle. I'm sorry. I love Kung Fu movies, but I normally watch the serious
You know what?
ones.
Right now, I don't think Dark and I believe you when you say that statement. Not trying to be gatekeeper or anything.
No, I understand. I understand.
You need to watch them.
I understand. I would have that reaction if somebody said they'd never seen Drunken Fist and they love Kung Fu movies. Like, what are you doing? No, I get it.
Awesome.
Oh.
That's so great.
Tonight.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I need to watch it. So, yeah, it's been a busy week of not a lot of new stuff coming to the channel because the stuff coming to the channel is just the Elden Ring and then the boss video, but stuff that will be coming between the Kill Team stuff is almost done, so we can record our first video on that. And then I've got Yowamushi Pedal. I've got some manga that I've been reading, not enough to really talk about, but I've read another chapter of Skeleton Soldier Couldn't Protect the Dungeon. So there's videos coming. Just gotta get stuff done with them first.
Finish him, Trey.
And that's not even touching on how I haven't touched any more Strangers of Paradise. I did some 40K stuff today, video game wise, trying to download mods for a dumb video I was gonna do, and spent way too long on that. I got the fan translation of Super Robot Wars W running, so I can do a video on that.
I apologize. I thought you already had that one done. I thought you already got that.
Which one?
When you were talking about the fan translation.
Oh no, I just have that downloaded. I haven't actually made the video on it. I had the translation downloaded. I just also had to patch the ROM.
Fair enough.
To be able to run it, and that was more work than I thought it was going to be, but I got it done.
Like, and maybe this is just me, but have you noticed the drop off of like Strangers of Paradise dropped off quick?
Yeah, people either aren't talking about it or are talking about it very disingenuously.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I expected that day, or that first week, and it was inundated the news feed and all that, any kind of game with that, and then just gone. Yeah, and it might just be, I mean, it could be just my news feed, but it just seems that way to me.
No, it's dropped, and there are things that have been spoiled for me about it because people are discussing it very disingenuously. That is like, okay, well, you're not even trying to engage with what you just told me happens. You're just saying it's dumb and bad. Like, but why did it happen that way?
It's like, really, is Final Fantasy now become the Coldplay of?
I think so.
Of games now.
I think so.
And I'm not a Coldplay fan, and but they're not horrible,
right?
But it's like this.
Well, people say if it's not this one game I like, it's not good. They're like, well, that's not. There's only one bad Final Fantasy game, and even it has cool stuff in it. Like,
yeah.
PS version. I got it. I got you. No, it's fun. I played probably another 15, 20 minutes of it, but it's just 2. 2 is the only bad Final Fantasy game. And even 2 has a moment where you have to go down to hell and fight the Lord of Hell. And then I don't know how much I'm supposed to spoil about 2 here. But you go up to heaven and fight God. Yeah. It's so good. 2 is so weird. The story is incredible. The gameplay is horrible.
Yeah. And then I think Final Fantasy's got such a long legacy, right? There is some really bad moments in it.
Oh, dark.
And sometimes like the first.
Oh, dark! You're killing me. 13.3 is rough, but the combat system's actually pretty solid. 13.2 has the really cool pet mechanic, and I actually don't hate Noel. I think the stuff with Sarah is dumb, but I don't hate Noel. FF10 is great. What do you mean? FF10's incredible.
I like 10. 10, but 10 start.
No, for sure.
It's clunky.
Yes, absolutely.
It takes a while. It doesn't take as long as, say, Final Fantasy 13 to get going. Because I wondered at one point if this was going to become a Final Fantasy game when I was playing 13.
Yeah.
I was like, no, this is not.
Where's
my world?
For sure. The shrine sequences in 10 where you have to solve the puzzles with the orbs, those are all terrible. Every single one of those is terrible. I wish there are literally mods for the PC version that let you skip those, and you should download them because they're garbage. But 10 has a moment where you legitimately bust up a wedding by showing up and just killing everybody in your way to bust up that wedding. And hey, no game can be bad when that happens. It's such a cool scene.
No, I tell you what though, when it came out, I played it going, they didn't pull off Blitzball, but I think Blitzball wasn't that bad of an idea. But
it's an okay idea.
But it doesn't, the control scheme, it doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
And that might be, of the time, they wouldn't have the, I guess the technical innovation at the time to make it smooth or something, but it didn't quite work. I don't think it was a bad idea. Right. And once you got halfway decent at it, you could, it almost became broken. You couldn't lose.
Yeah. I like the idea of finding more players out in the world. That's cool. That's a cool thing that more video games should do is, hey, you have this mini game that you can do kind of whenever you want. Well, here's new things you can find for it at every major city you go to. That's cool.
Well, that was like that's one of the things why Final Fantasy VII is such a beloved game.
Yeah, for sure.
it's all the extras. It's got an
Yeah.
arcade in it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and of course that's like no big deal now, right? It's like, hey, that's cool. Glad it's in there, but it's no big deal. But at the time, like I said, from that point in history, that's unheard of,
Yeah.
you know. And the chocobo races and all kinds of stuff you could do on the side.
I think like when it comes to Final Fantasies, and that's not what this video is, but like this podcast, but when it comes to Final Fantasies, I think it's like 4, 1, 4, 6, 7, 9, maybe 12 and 14. And then it's like 3, 5, 7 or 8, 10, 11 maybe, and then it goes like 10-2, 13-1, 13-2, 13-3, and then it goes
never,
FF2.
ever should be a Final Fantasy number 2 anything.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I forgot
should wrap
15.
up. Yeah, so do most people.
Yeah, Type 0 was pretty good, and Final Fantasy Tactics is an incredible game. Oh, Dark. I understand why, but you're missing out. FF4 is one of the best games ever made.
That's what. No, hold on. Wait. Sorry. Old school gamer here. 4 here, 4 there.
4 there, 2 here. The one where you play as Cecil the Dark Knight.
Okay. No, hold on. Where do you start out underground in the mechs?
No.
That was 4 here, was 6 there.
Right.
So, yeah. So 6. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't played them all. I haven't played a lot of them.
Right.
But the numbers are different here than they are.
They very much are. They very much are.
Except for 1.
Oh, Final Fantasy's good. And I really want to play more Stranger in Paradise because the gameplay is so good. I just been busy with everything else I talked about.
Well, even with all the... Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, please go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, there's so much about the new games, and we've mentioned this before. It's like when a AAA game gets released. Yeah, okay, the graphics are good, but don't harp on about the graphics. They better be good.
Yeah, I agree.
On the software and hardware and everything. And there's something that I think I'm missing in a lot of these modern games, and that's it was a marketing term, resonance.
Yeah.
Where I'm gone and doing something else. I'm running around town, or I'm at work, or I'm doing this or that, and I think and I'm thinking about that game, what I might be able to do in it, what my next step will be.
Yeah, where am I going next?
Yeah, and that seemed to be a goal of game. And obviously, there's still some games out there where this is a goal.
Yeah,
right, because they want you thinking about it, and they want to give you enough stuff to do to go out. But for a lot of games, man, it's like generic story relying on pretty graphics.
Yeah.
And it's not deep and engaging.
Yeah.
And you get that, and so there's kind of, because I love Fallout 4 and like Skyrim and stuff, and really you kind of role play that yourself. It's what you bring to the character. It's not necessarily on there. So that's a little bit different, but I don't know. I haven't found the past few games I've been getting in. I'm not going to call any out by name, but the past few games I've been getting in. Amazing settings, beautiful graphics. The gameplay is usually pretty good on it, but there's lacking in depth of character.
Yeah,
on some of these AAA games, and I think I don't know. I need to play Strangers in Paradise, but I'm kind of wondering if it's relying on the good looks and the.
I don't think so. There are times where it looks pretty grimy. It really feels like it's trying to tell its story, and it doesn't care whether you like that story or not.
Okay.
Why are they numbered differently? Oh, Dark. It's a fascinating story. Final Fantasy 1 came out here a year and a half after Final Fantasy came out. The first one came out in Japan. It did really well.
It wasn't supposed to.
Right. It wasn't supposed to, but it did really well in both places, obviously. And by the time that they were saying, well, let's bring the second one over, the third one was already coming out. Then, this is where it's really fascinating. Then they took a pause and said, well, we'll wait for the third one to come out, and we'll just bring it over instead of bringing over the second one, which is a stupid idea. Just bring the second one over. So instead, they waited until the fourth one came out in Japan, and then brought it over as Final Fantasy II. Then it did so well, they said, all right, well, we got to bring the next one over. Final Fantasy V had just come out in Japan, and they were like, yeah, man, we'll bring that one over. And again, they waited and brought Final Fantasy VI over as Final Fantasy III.
Now, there's something to be said, a little context to the story. This is over, if you look at game development time, this is not over a very long period of time.
Yeah.
I mean, they were pumping out once, because Final Fantasy was called that.
Yep.
It was supposed to be, I forget his name and I apologize. His last game, he's never been able to get a studio going. It blows up, you know, right time, right place, coming out with Nintendo, and you had Dragon Ball.
That was the perfect storm.
Yeah, it was. Really blew up. But yeah, they, you know, and I might be getting a little too deep into this, but there was a Japanese business mindset, you know, to keep this level of production going.
Yes.
And like I said, this was why they're one of the biggest economies in the world in the 80s. To keep that going, and they did. They didn't have that. That's not over. What are we talking? 5 years?
Yeah, it was a very short period of time.
6 to get to 6, which they released as 4 here.
Right.
So yeah, it's quite amazing.
It is. It really is. And especially because they just kept getting better. Other than 2 and 3's story is okay, they just kept getting better. Like also, just want to throw this out real quick.
Stride.
Oh, go ahead.
I just want to say they did. They hit a stride going into, and I think it's kind of dropped off a little bit. It's just personal opinion, but there was a time there that they were just killing it.
The stride has absolutely fallen off. The releases are so far away between each other now. But
yeah, it's more than that.
Yeah, I agree. The blame for it for me falls completely on the American side, where they went, well, yeah, this is the 4th game, but if we put it out as Final Fantasy 4, people are going to get mad because Final Fantasy 2 and 3 aren't out. So we're just going to call it Final Fantasy 2 and nobody will know.
Yeah.
Why? Why are you like this?
What's funny is we did know.
Yeah, we did.
And, you know, way back then, the pre-internet and all that stuff. I mean, you know,
it was obvious. This is not the second game.
Well, not only that. I mean, I age myself now, but the internet wasn't really going. But you had these BBE message boards.
Yep, BBSs.
BBSs, and people talking, you know, direct to it, and you get these rumors and stuff, and of course, you know, at that time, that's the only way to get information from other weird places, and so we knew through these weird connections, these links that, you know, friends had. Yeah. No, that's not the right game.
Well, and I think the thing people forget, because Dark asked, why is it obvious? The manual for the game says in the 4th installment in the Final Fantasy series.
Yeah.
The paper manual that comes with the game tells you it's not the second game.
God, I miss game boxes. I miss the time when like musical artists and game developers put thought into the package in the game, and you had that manual. You know, you could open the box where you even played it. You've been flipping through the manual, looking at it. I miss that.
Used to do that every time coming home from the game store.
Yep.
Well, speaking of the game store, I know we're having a good discussion, but we should probably move into reviews.
All right, let's do reviews.
Should you go and buy these games at the game store, or should you hold off? We're going to start with MLB The Show 22.
Who's putting this out? Is this EA still?
Let me double check. I think it's Sony. Yeah, Sony San Diego.
Okay. Sony San Diego. Not a big fan of baseball, but baseball video games are usually pretty easy to make fun.
I did. Thanks, Dark. I super forgot a word. MLB The 22.
Just the 22.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to go with an 83 on this one.
Okay.
Like I said, it shouldn't be too hard to make a baseball game fun.
Right. Push the button, and as usual, chat, if you want to guess, we'll bring up the ice cream. 79 from Waverly. For anybody who's never played this game before, if you get the score, your name gets put on the ice cream wall of fame for the rest of the podcast.
86. Right on. That's pretty high. 86.
The X said we can go. The answer is 74.
Okay. Write it down a little bit.
Now, I'm going to tell you right now, there's only 9 reviews.
Okay.
Which is the lowest I've ever seen one of these get review-wise. And these reviews have been up for a couple days. So it's not just that people haven't submitted their reviews yet. It's got 9 reviews. Okay.
Right.
Let's read this first one from Xbox Era. MLB The Show 22 is an excellent baseball game and a marked improvement from last year's debut title on the Xbox platform. Featuring some of the best on-the-field action I've ever experienced in a baseball title, a massive amount of game modes, excellent commentary from the new team, and incredible customization options, it is worth your time. Being available day one on Game Pass makes an easy recommendation, and if you passed up on last year's and like to own your games, then there is more than enough here to warrant a purchase.
Okay, hold on. Boy, there's a little bit of sleight of hand done there at the end of that, isn't there?
There is.
If you didn't get last year's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Games Radar says, still surprisingly swing and miss online, but for long-lasting and Moorish solo play, NBA 2K22 is its only competitor in a 2-horse championship duel.
Did you just say Moorish?
That's the word they used, yes.
Okay. All right.
That's why I read that one. And finally, of all the outlets, Nintendo Life says, the ultimate question is whether you should play MLB The Show 22 on Switch. Well, it depends. If it's your main or only platform and you're happy playing CPU and offline games, then yes, it's not bad and holds things together just enough for gameplay to be enjoyable. If you want an on-the-go version to accompany a more powerful home console version, perhaps on Game Pass, then it's another yes. If you want to mainly play online in Diamond Dynasty, no, this isn't the way to go. MLB The Show 22 is admirably packed with content and features, but it's not entirely comfortably packed into the diminutive Switch. It lacks the fluidity and crispness found elsewhere, which is perhaps expected, but doesn't change the fact. If you're happy with the compromises, though, then step up to the plate. And I want to give Nintendo Life just a quick, hey, that's great. This is the first time I've ever seen them say, actually, you should probably just get this on Game Pass if you want to play it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. They're like, Switch. No. Yeah, okay.
Don't buy this one. Good on you, Nintendo Life. What do you think, based on all that, the recommended score is going to be?
I'm going 63.
Okay. You're up, chat.
We got a 56.
56 from
Yeah,
Mark.
I don't think it. I don't think it's not. Honestly, it's not hard to make a baseball game fun to play.
Yeah. Also, just want to throw this out there real
74.
quick. 74, nice. Games Radar said that NBA 2K22 is the only competitor for MLB The Show. Those are two different sports. That's not how that works.
Yeah. You're frozen again.
No! All right, we're going to give it the one attempt to fix it. One attempt to fix it. Maybe we're okay. Maybe.
No, we'll see.
The score is 57%.
Wow.
Dark was off by 1 point.
1 point, yes.
Why does it break so often? Because my internet is garbage.
Somebody almost got ice cream but didn't quite get it. All right.
Next up is a game that people might be more excited about. Also, for anybody who's like, man, just pay for better internet. I do. I pay for business internet, and it doesn't matter. It just because I only have one internet provider in my area, and they hate me. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
Mm-hmm.
Can't type today. There we go. Is the newest game in the Lego Star Wars series. It's the culmination of the entirety of Lego Star Wars. Of all Star Wars, basically, except for like Mandalorian. But it's the main series, all put into one game. Which, hey, if you haven't bought these games yet, that might be a good deal for you.
Well, I mean, look, Lego's done really well with his games.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, the Lego games, a lot of Lego games have been great. They've been funny.
Yeah.
You know, and it seems so, it's one of those things where all the ones I've played, it seems like the people that wrote the dialogue and everything are fans of what they're
Right.
parodying, whether it's Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Harry Potter.
There's a part of me that wants to buy this
stuff.
just to see what they do with Rise of Skywalker.
There's part of me that doesn't want to buy this just because, never mind.
I just want to see the jokes that they make.
Can they make?
Literally, the joke is just going to be the same scene.
I'm at a loss, man. I was gonna take a shot at Disney and ask are they gonna release this in China? Then I realized, okay, I'm gonna be talking about a game that's full of yellow people.
Yep.
I'm canceled already. I can't help it. Lego Star. I got hope for this game. I hope they keep with their sense of humor and the gameplay and the way they go about things, and they have a lot of freedom. In them. So I want to give this a 92 because I've got hope.
I saw Waverly gave it an 88.
Okay.
Yeah, except we can go. Dark's giving it a 92, and the answer is 83.
83? Okay.
Very close.
Yeah.
ACG says buy.
Yeah.
Then let's get some reviews in here. Attack of the Fanboy says, don't let the Lego license fool you. This is the Star Wars game we've all been waiting for.
Okay. That's it?
That's all they said. IGN Italy says the biggest Lego video game ever made dips the players in a cohesive Star Wars experience. In terms of gameplay, innovations are not to be expected, as the Lego formula is well established and is still working. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is easy to pick, fun to play alone or along with a friend, kid, and a mandatory experience for any Star Wars and Lego fan.
Yeah, see that's the thing. That's where they shine though, is when you're sitting around. Yeah, because I understand the sentiment that they seem brain dead, but they kind of are.
Yeah.
You know, and I wouldn't argue against that. That's kind of the point of them, to be that silly and not think too hard, and then you can run around, with
that's
other
what
people.
Dynasty Warriors
or
is
kids.
for me.
Yeah,
It's just I don't have to think. I just kill.
so mash. Do the
Twinfinite
mash.
says
Move so
overall.
mash.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
That's all right. No, go ahead.
Overall, while Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is more of an evolution of the franchise than a full-on revolution, it's still quite possibly the definitive Star Wars video game collection right now. Not only from a content perspective, but from an authenticity and a fun factor perspective as well. Equally charming as it is nostalgic, it's a wonderful experience, especially for those with a soft spot for that galaxy far, far away.
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of dumb jokes, Star Wars jokes, and stuff. Which, if you play the games, there's a lot of dumb jokes in there.
Right.
How many more you got, Bo?
I just have one more for you, but
why you say it like that?
Digital Trends says Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga has lots of ambition but lacks focus. That's it. They don't get into more detail. They don't explain what they mean. It's just lacks focus.
Yeah, it sounds like your
9
resume.
games. I bet it does.
It sounds like that person's resume. Would you hire them? Well,
they have lots of ambition but lack focus.
Focus, yeah.
That's fair, Dark. I understand. What do you think the recommended score is? Waverly says sticking to 88 again.
Yeah, yes. I'm gonna go with 84. Actually, I think.
Okay.
On that.
92 from Dark.
Dark, yeah. It might get up there.
Yeah, I said we can go, and the answer is 86%.
Okay. All around it.
Generally high.
I said shoot around their nose, not up it.
And the last review we have for tonight, or the last game to review for tonight, is Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers Edition. And
right.
I want to preface this by saying, for anybody who doesn't know, Chrono Cross is an incredibly divisive game. I love it, but I understand why others don't, because it's nothing like Chrono Trigger, really. People expected it to be, and it's just kind of not. It's its own thing, for better or worse. I think better in some ways because it does its own thing. The music is incredible. For anybody who's never listened to the Chrono Cross soundtrack, it's not as good as Chrono Trigger's soundtrack, but it's special in its own way. The characters are memorable. The story's solid. But again, it's not what it's billed as or what it was billed as way back when. So I understand why people didn't like it back then. This is the remake, basically. This is the redo.
Redo. I'm going to give this an 89. I feel good about that score.
Okay.
89.
Chat.
Look at the numbers in. Got a 90 from Waverly.
Okay. Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers edition, gets a 75.
No, really? I
Don't
figured
know the gamer series.
Oh, well.
God is a Geek says Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamer edition, brings possibly the best PS1 JRPG to Europe for the first time, and it simply must be played.
All right. Yeah. That reflects that score. Go on.
Yeah. RPG Fan says one of Squaresoft's finest classics playable on modern hardware, and despite some setbacks, it holds up wonderfully.
Well, yeah, once again, reflects the score that you just... Anyway, go ahead.
Twinfinite says Chrono Cross stands the test of time, and I implore anyone who enjoyed Chrono Trigger or other 90s JRPGs to give Chrono Cross the Radical Dreamers edition a shot.
Yeah, okay.
I got two more for you.
Or the exact same thing? Do they say the exact same thing?
This is where things change. RPG Site says the Radical Dreamers edition brings back two classics for the first time since their debut, but the Switch version leaves a lot to be desired.
Okay.
And Push Square says parts of Chrono Cross haven't really aged well, but it's still a charming, characterful JRPG that evokes feelings of the genre's golden age on PS1. It's a game that deserves much better than the Radical Dreamers edition, which, at least at launch, is a dreadfully poor remaster, crippled by frame rate issues. It beggars belief that a title from 1999 could run this badly on modern hardware. Unless you're desperate for the nostalgia, we strongly recommend waiting to see whether Square Enix releases a patch to improve the package on PS4 and PS5 before buying.
Who gave that review?
That was Push Square.
Really? Okay, thank you for that one. That I got something out of a review you read. Oh my gosh.
Also, I think that highlights the real issue, which is that Chrono Cross is a great game, and it seems like this is just not a very good port, especially on Switch. They don't bring it up there, but on Switch, it's having some really rough performance. On PC,
that's ridiculous.
Through Xbox on PC, it's great. It seems to run fine. But on consoles, it seems to be struggling a little bit. If this is a game you're interested in, because again, I recommend Chrono Cross. I'm going to get it after the patch drops, but I recommend you wait for the patch that inevitably will come because Square always has to patch their games lately, it seems.
All right.
The recommended score, what do you think?
I'm going to go 76, I think.
Okay, we got a 72 and a 78.
Yeah, I think it's going to be somewhere around in there. I don't understand how people keep ruining port.
Yep. The score is 62%.
Yeah.
Which is not to be unexpected after hearing about the performance issues.
Yeah, shouldn't be an issue. Oh my gosh.
Again, when I can emulate your game better than you can port it, there's a problem.
Absolutely.
There's a problem.
And when I emulate your game and get a mod from some, poor person that doesn't get paid for it, but can make, to make it look better.
Yeah. And again, for anybody out there that's like, well, I've always heard this game's terrible. I get it. I do. People are mad that it wasn't Chrono Trigger 2, but please just give it a shot. If you're interested in JRPGs, if you're not, just watch a retrospective or something on it where somebody talks about what the game actually does.
Yeah.
Instead of just, well, it's not Chrono Trigger. Because if we go by it's not Chrono Trigger, literally every other game except for Chrono Trigger fails. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, I love Halo 1, but it's not Chrono Trigger, so I guess it's terrible. Yeah, that's what the argument sounds like when you go, well, it's not Chrono Trigger. I get it. Chrono Trigger is one of my favorite games of all time. That game's incredible. Nothing else is Chrono Trigger. But would you
Even
like
still.
to be able to
Go
make
ahead.
Chrono Trigger?
Ah, ha, ha.
Because Unreal Engine 5 was officially released today, and it's free.
Yay! I can afford it now. I'm gonna own it, and then it'll just sit on my computer because I won't know what to do with it.
Very true, Doc. That's very true. No, I think when it comes down to it, Unreal Engine 5 is looking really cool. I almost did a video on like reacting to the thing, and I was like, look, I'm not a dev. I've never sat down with these tools and tried to make something. I don't think my perspective on the entire video would be very interesting.
Well, we also did that.
Yes.
We discussed a while back. We discussed Unreal Engine 5
with the Matrix demo.
With the Matrix demo and a couple of the lighting and physics
Yes.
software that went with it that were coming out that games you're going to be using this year. So we kind of did talk about it with the Matrix demo and everything of how amazing it was and how well it worked.
Right. And a bunch of devs have already come out and said, yeah, now we can talk about it. We're making our game with Unreal 5.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's cool. I'm stoked for it. And again, the fact that they're still not charging for it, why wouldn't you make your game in Unreal 5?
Oh, yeah. No doubt. Like I said, what they've done, just some of the demos they've showed off, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be... I don't know if we'll ever cross the uncanny valley, but
yeah,
for what they show on screen, man, it's really unbelievable.
I'm excited for what it's going to mean for video games moving forward.
Yeah, and especially with the I am not the one to try to break this down, but the resource used that Unreal Engine 5 had with these other ones, yeah, we'll be buying new hardware soon, but it,
it's probably gonna be worth it.
Yeah, it's gonna be worth it. It's not gonna be as heavy as some of the previous jumps in software technology.
Yeah. Battle Angel Alita game. Yeah, for sure. In Unreal 5. I think we've talked about this before too. Neither one of us are like big graphics people. We both prefer the gameplay and the good art style versus graphics. But if you have good graphics, I'm not gonna complain. That's not gonna bother me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need to see every pore on the character's face as the sweat goes down their face. But if I get to see that, I'm not going to go like, well, it was a little too realistic. They're like, yeah, sure, that looks great. That looks really cool.
Yeah, it would look like the film, basically.
Yeah.
Really, really close. Going into that, talking about the hardware, just another little announcement thing.
Yeah.
This is not insider trading information. It's not about stock. It's about graphics cards. The chip shortage is kind of coming to an end, and Asus kind of put out a low-key thing that was like, hey, we're not short on graphic cards anymore. We shouldn't be charging these prices as if there was a shortage on them. So starting with Asus, and it'll trickle out through the other ones. So if you're looking for a graphics card, why don't you just give it just a little bit if you got some time, and I think the prices will come down.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like I said, Asus is the one that kind of had the announcement. So I look at those. I see what they have the AMD and Radeon.
Yeah,
they carry both of them on their cards. So whichever one.
With the chip shortage coming to an end too, Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 will start to become more available.
True.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sure some of them will still be priced pretty rough because people will be using them to mine. But
oh yeah, well, it's so weird because okay, last generation stuff might be cheap, but the generations before that is going to be really expensive.
Yeah. And
then when the next generation comes out, the stuff that's cheap now is going to be expensive again. It's crazy.
It's so weird. It's so weird. I don't understand, but it is what it is, I suppose.
It is.
Let's move into news then.
All right. Yeah, I got the lead story.
Yeah.
So, Muhammad Fahmy died, and I try to find out what happened, and there has been no details released. But he was a creator developer. Actually, I'm gonna put it this way: he's was most well known for creator developer of Coffee Talk and what comes after. And Coffee Talk is just community around that game is kind of interesting
Hmm.
because I find as I was going about it, this guy that's one of those games that non-gamers have played and got something out of, and
Yes.
that's always kind of a unique thing because that's not something everybody can pull off,
Right. For
right?
sure.
You know, and if you want to if you want to feel unsuccessful, you should go look at the list of hats that this guy's put on.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's known most as a creator developer, um, but I want to bring up because whether you've heard of this game or not, if you know what Coffee Talk is,
Right.
well, you know what it's not. He deserves to be named because I've said it on here before. Took thousands of years, millions and millions of people to make this guy.
Right.
There's never been anything like him before, and there will never be anything like him since.
Yeah.
And he did. He touched a lot of people that, you know, like I said, if you get people that don't play games to play a game to sit through this and go, okay, I got something. I feel better
For
about
sure.
me.
For sure.
You know, that's a beautiful thing. And it's sad. He was very young. I think he was 32 when he passed. Like I said, no details. It's Indonesia. I don't know. You know, we may never find out. And I guess, you know, if that's family wishes or his wishes, then I guess that's the way it'll be. But I did want to bring that one up and point that out at the beginning of the news.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a presence in the gaming sphere that will absolutely be missed.
He died from an asthma attack? Really? I checked up till about 6:30 looking for a story on that. I even tried to find his obituary, but yeah, that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah. Those are not fun. I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
All right. Well, now we got some good news.
There's a link to a sale for the game itself where proceeds will be donated to his family.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Well, let's it's hard not to just get down from that, but we do have to move on. And I don't mean to sound callous. We can't just
No, and like I said, it's just if you don't know, go find out.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, it's worth checking the game out for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
It is in many ways his living legacy that it continues
Yeah.
to be there, and you know, check it out. E3 has been canceled. E3's done. E3 digital
Like I
is
said,
done.
now we have some good news.
Yeah. E3 is one of those things that should have been really good and was really good like the first E3.
Yeah.
And then as soon as E3 2 Electric Boogaloo, it was people going out on stage and just throwing out buzzwords instead of talking about their games. The real benefit of E3 was the convention around E3, where you could, you know, go and play games and play test games and get coverage of video games that were still being made and get to see demos and that wouldn't become publicly available. And then they stopped doing that, and it went digital because of the world events over the last couple of years. And the digital version was just press conferences with buzzwords and very little gameplay, and
Yeah.
it's done. It's gone.
Well, you take what makes it special, and then you get rid of it.
Yeah.
And it's no longer special.
I have to throw out, too, I saw people being like, well, this is Jeff Keighley's time to shine, and the Game Awards will take over where E3 was. Look, the Game Awards are the same thing, except it's got more commercials. What do you mean? It's a show from gamers for gamers. It's like, no, it's not.
No.
Jeff Keighley's a gamer. I won't deny that. Absolutely. But you know who pays for that show? Samsung. And they'll remind you of it every 15 minutes.
Right. If you have a production company pulling the strings,
Yeah.
it is not for the people by the people. Yeah. Just, you know, no. Appreciate it, but no.
Yeah. So yeah, it's E3 is what it is. It's done now. There was a time, like I said, where it was a really cool thing, and unfortunately, it just, which also means E3 coverage is done on the channel. I'm not gonna like collate a bunch of press conferences from a bunch of different outlets. Look, I don't mean to just like harp on this, but E3 week was one of the worst weeks of my life for the last 3 years. As I tried to watch every conference and break down all the stuff.
Nah, not to hear the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. There's only so many times I can watch Sony's little animation of the flowing screen followed by someone saying, "We have brand new technology that will allow you to immerse yourself in our game world as you never have before." It's like, all right, look.
Just stop.
If anyone wants to submit trailers for games to Aki to run Aki's video game announcements, I'll be the new E3 and I'll be a gamer for the gamers. Yeah, there you go. Just trailers. Just trailers.
All right, fine. I'll send the animal costume back, Dark. God.
Yeah, no. E3's done.
Killing dreams.
But you know what's not done? Squats.
Those hurt.
So this story probably doesn't mean anything to anybody, right? But there was a faction in Warhammer 40K, like second edition, basically, called Squats.
It wasn't 40K, was it?
Well, no, it was originally Warhammer Fantasy.
That's
and then they
Squats
came to
from.
40K. They were dwarves. They were their version of dwarves. And then in 40K, they were still called Squats, and they were space dwarves. And at some point, they went, yeah, no, these aren't cool enough. We'll just get rid of these. And people have been asking for them to come back for the last 6 editions of that game.
Nice.
So they put out a April Fool's video, right? Which we didn't cover April Fool's this year. I can't stand April Fool's anymore. I got my heart kicked in too many times by cool announcements. I'm done. But they announced Squats, and everybody was like, it's April Fool's. And then they put out a thing that was like, no, it's not, though. Here's the first model. They have a whole line coming, and they got a new name for the faction and redid their lore. They're now called the Leagues of Votan, and if you have old Squat models, you can run them. They're just going to let you keep using them. But the new leagues are like dwarves in mech suits with super guns. Which powered armor suits, basically. And like, you know what? Yeah. I saw a lot of people saying rock and stone. Which, yes. So that was cool. Squats being back is a thing that people have been asking for a long time. So I'm glad for it.
Well, I'm glad they're not. They seem to come. I don't know when it started, but they are not near as tight on some of the rules and regulations that they used to be.
Well, for sure.
You know, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? It's like you can use the old models.
Yeah,
and
they never would have done that before.
No.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. And then next week we'll have the balanced data slate that'll come out again quarterly. It's hard to believe it's already been a quarter, but
yeah. Ooh.
So that'll happen.
The shouldn't be too much longer. The Lotro producers letter will be out again.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also, I didn't cover it yet. Don't like you using old paid models for theirs. They didn't used to. Now they're letting you use the old models that you bought in tournaments still. But there was a time where they were like, no, you have to use the new versions because these are not Squats anymore. These are, or like these are not. Yeah. But now they're letting you use it.
40K is a lot bigger now.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And so they have a bigger inflow of cash. They can kind of play a little bit more.
Yeah. It was just a cool thing to see. Like, hey, yeah, you can use these 25-year-old models.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Break them out, man.
There was a Final Fantasy 14 live letter. I forgot to do a reaction to it because I was busy. I missed it completely. But it was really just like, hey, there are some changes coming. We'll have more patch notes in the future. But we don't have those patch notes yet, and I'd rather wait until we get the patch notes to cover the stuff.
Yeah.
Because some of the changes seem pretty big. Like they're making it where some of Samurai's moves just auto crit. It's like, okay, that's gonna change a lot. I need to know more about that. They just wanted to make you buy the new stuff. They used to, yeah. There was a big thing back in 6th edition where Imperial Knights had a codex and Chaos Knights did not. And so people would just take Imperial Knights and make Chaos Knights out of them. And there were a couple of official tournaments that were like, well, no, those are obviously Chaos Knights. You can't run those as Imperial Knights. I was like, and now they just don't care. Now it's like, yeah, no, you brought this. It looks like that. It's supposed to be that. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, the mini explosion helped Game Workshop out a lot.
It did. It did.
So.
I have something kind of shocking to tell you next.
Oh!
Yeah. The Code Vein devs want to work with Brandon Sanderson.
But does Brandon Sanderson want to work with the Code Vein devs?
So, really, the big thing here is like people, oh man, I don't understand this. There are so many misinformation articles that went up that were like, From Software wants to work with Brandon Sanderson. And it's not.
Yeah.
It's Bandai Namco wants to work with Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah. Which is different.
Yes. It's not From Software. It's not the Elden Ring developers want to work with Brandon Sanderson. It's Bandai Namco, their publisher, wants to work with Brandon Sanderson. So you could really go in anywhere and say the Code Vein devs or the Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Operation 2 devs, or you could get away with any of it because it's just Bandai Namco.
Yeah, and here's the thing: if you know who Brandon Sanderson is,
yeah,
you know why they're doing this,
right? So for anybody who doesn't know, as Dark has just pointed out, Brandon Sanderson is a pretty prolific fantasy author at the time. He is a writing machine, is publishing a bunch of his own books now so that he doesn't have to work with publishers to be able to get them out faster. Like, that's the reason, so he can get them out faster.
Yeah, well, his Kickstarter campaign,
yes.
He asked for he didn't really ask for a whole lot, and he ended up making a stupid millions of dollars on his Kickstarter just to finish a book.
This man is the kind of guy that goes, yeah, I need to write a book. It's important. It's the newest one in the series. I'm going to write it real quick. I'll knock it out in a weekend and then write 5 more books without his wife knowing in the time that he was supposed to be finishing that one.
Yeah.
Like, what? This man's insane. So he's got a bunch of different series. Let me pull up this just for fun. Let's pull up Brandon Sanderson on Wiki and see what he's written just in the last 3 years,
And this is not going to count what he ghost wrote.
Right. Yeah, because he finished Wheel of Time after that was not able to be finished.
Yes.
So let's see here. The bibliography. Okay. He wrote Rhythm of War, Stormlight Archive, Oathbringer, The Bands of Mourning, Calamity, Perfect State, Firefight, Shadows of Self, Words of Radiance, Memory of Light, Steel Heart, Emperor's Soul, The Alloy of Law, The Way of Kings, Warbreaker, Hero of Ages, Alcatraz vs. the Evil Librarians, The Well of Ascension, Defending Elysium, Mistborn, and Elantris. And that's just the ones he got awards for.
Yeah. I've read a couple of those. Let's see, I remember Way of Kings. That was that's a trilogy.
Yep. Oh. Well, now it's a quadrilogy.
Well, that one's actually really funny because that's kind of Way of Kings is all the cliches.
Yeah.
Put together by him, and it's a great fantasy book that makes fun of really fantasy books.
Just in this year, he's already published The Lost Metal, and it should be coming out soon. And then Tress of the Emerald Sea, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, and The Sunlit Man are all coming out next year, and they're all 3 part of a surprise novel set that he's making. This man's insane. Do. Yeah.
As you do.
So the point is, after Elden Ring hit big, right? Bandai Namco wants to bring in Sanderson to write a game.
Exactly.
It's like, of course they do.
Absolutely. It's a marketing, and it's not a bad one. You probably get a storyline. If you get him hired, you get a storyline here pretty quick.
Unironically, I think he'll probably write a better story than George did.
Maybe not. No, different writing styles.
Yeah.
Wizard Way of Kings. That's the first one in that series. Is Wizard's First Rule, I think.
No, Way of Kings is the first one in the series. Or what's it called? Stormlight Archive is the name of that series. He's got Mistborn.
Okay.
He's got
some D&D books too, didn't he?
I think so.
Okay.
He's written a lot over the years.
Yes, he has.
But only souls like you've beaten is Code Vein. That's fair. And Code Vein devs have Bandai Namco. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Elden Ring's story. I mentioned it in the review. The biggest issue is that George R.R. Martin went, I like these 4 letters for names to start with. So you have like 15 people whose names all start with R.
R is a good letter.
It is, but at some point,
all right.
Let me introduce you to Millennia, Michaela, Margit.
Oh my gosh,
George, why? So, yeah, this is a pretty big thing for a lot of people. They're really stoked for it, and I am too. Honestly, I like Sanderson's work. I have reviews up for the entire Stormlight Archive series. So,
well, I mean, he's got a massive, true fan base.
Right, absolutely.
That will trust him enough that they're going to buy the story.
Right.
The game sucks, they'll still buy it.
Yes.
Because and Bandai Namco knows that.
Yeah.
And hopefully they don't take advantage of it.
I'm excited for this too because it means that we might get more video game stories written by authors. Because the last big time this happened before George R.R. Martin with Elden Ring was Fire Emblem Fates, which had a very popular Japanese light novel author who, I think you remember we talked about this at the time when George R.R. Martin was announced to be for Elden Ring, that they took his book and went, oh, we really should have given him like a word count or a page count because this is far too much story for the game we're making and we didn't tell him that. So we're just going to cut huge chunks out of his story and shove it into the game. And it did not do well at all. Hey, we're going to have this very important character who just watched his mother die wait 25 turns to battle you because in the book he has other things he's doing and we cut all that out, so he's just going to sit there for 25 turns before he moves. What?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of when there's been a crossover writer before that I don't know. I feel like there is, I'm missing it.
Yeah.
All right.
Am I wrong, or was there a writer that wrote, like a prolific writer that wrote the story for Sonic and the Black Knight? Witcher, for sure. Though they'd take a different turn from the books. I'm trying to think of something out of like,
because they made I Have No Mouth and Need to Scream. That's that's a game based on the story.
Yes.
It's a messed up game.
Yes, I love that.
But he didn't write it as a game.
Right. Who wrote Sonic and the Black Knight? The writer was Shiro Maekawa. I remember it being a big thing because, spoilers for Sonic and the Black Knight, towards the end of that game, Sonic kisses the human princess.
Yeah.
And it's a very uncomfortable scene.
Yeah.
I remember there being a lot of people going, of course this was written by an author. But
all right.
Yeah, we'll move on. That's not important.
Yeah. Well, it would be a short jaunt over to the next topic.
Yeah, some might even say a short hike. A Short Hike's dev has made a really cool mod called the 99 mod. And it's really cool that the dev has made this.
Mm-hmm.
A Short Hike is a really fun indie game where you can take a short hike up a mountain. And I finished it in an afternoon. It was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed it. But now you can play it with friends, with up to 99 other people. You can just run around the island and play the mini games together. And it's just a really cool thing to see the creator of the game go, yeah, I'm going to release this as a free mod. Anybody can download.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. That's always nice news.
Yeah. Short Hike's a fun game. 99 people's a lot, first off, but I agree. He also made sure to give it Steam Deck support for anybody that has a Steam Deck, so,
I don't know 99 people.
Neither do I. The dev is going to have a server put up for 2 weeks that he runs, and then after that, he's going to take his server down. But anybody that wants to can make their own server and host it as long as they want.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. Yeah.
So he's going to pay for a server for 2 weeks for people to play on, and then after that, make your own server.
Well, also give them time to test that, the server structure. Because it sounds like you're going to build a software server on your computer to let everybody play on.
Right.
So, cool deal.
It's
very cool deal.
It's pretty cool. And this next part is also pretty cool. Don't yet know what it means, but I'm very excited about this. Tetsuya Iwanaga, who is Kamen Rider Gem, and is one of my favorite Kamen Rider actors. This is the guy who plays Dan Kuroto and in Kamen Rider X-Aid. And for anybody who doesn't know, he is an incredible actor that is able to pull off serious, funny. The man just can, on a dime, just flip. He's an incredible actor. He got huge acclaim from that series. He is leaving his agency.
That's really strange.
It's unheard of for the most part in Japan.
Well, I know. It was like, that's just... What?
We don't know what his plans are yet, but it seems like he might be wanting to be a free agent.
Which says that really says something to his star power.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you can do that?
Yeah, this man says, yeah, I wanna be myself. I wanna pick my own shows to be in. Everybody's like, whoa, that's not a thing people can do. So,
oh, awesome. Yeah, I wonder how that's gonna turn out. What's going to come out of that?
He's a really, really good actor. Tetsuya Iwanaga.
Interesting. Berserk is ending finally. Berserk is ending finally?
Did they finally decide somebody to finish it after Miura's passing? Because for me, I'm happy where it's at right now. Without even meaning to, Miura accidentally made a really good ending at the chapter that was the last one he wrote. But don't you think is still the one working on it? Okay. If he wants to finish it, I mean, if anybody has the right to, it's him.
Yeah, fair enough. For sure.
That is a really solid spot where Berserk is. But it ends this year. Worry that it might be a rushed ending in that regard.
Well, yeah, it's kind of hard to gauge it for what they may do. They did this to a show that I really love.
Yeah.
There's a show called Sense8.
Right.
And man, it takes some time. Like, if it's too slow for you at the start, I understand. It takes forever to get going. But you're getting introduced to 8 main characters.
Right.
So it does take a while. Well, Netflix canceled the series, and it wasn't in a good spot to stop.
Yeah.
And I was very upset. But they did allow them to go back and do like a 2.5 hour long movie.
Okay.
That let them wrap it up. And Sensei is a great series. They had some issue with actors and a couple other things, but yeah, it's a really good show. So maybe they're maybe that's the direction. So rather instead of trying to, maybe do one big thing to kind of wrap up.
Yeah.
Instead of a whole series of little things.
Yeah. I need to reread Berserk. Berserk is a huge influence on media that I enjoy and on media as a whole. So much of media today is touched on by Berserk and changed where it is. The latest chapter that Miura had written has 2 characters that have been physically together but mentally apart for a very long time, able to reconcile. It has a very good spot, basically, where the whole group is just like, yeah, okay, things are starting to look up. And yeah, you don't get your vengeance at that spot, but I don't know that anything written could be sufficient for the vengeance that I want Guts to be able to get. So I'm okay with just going, yeah, he's going to get it one day. It's fine. But, who knows? Maybe it'll be a really good ending. I just know that often when an ending is put out before the end of a year and it's already 4 months into the year, that be tough. Also, like, not to talk bad about his son. I haven't seen his son's art. I don't know how his son is going to be able to capture the style that his father had.
I'm wondering if it's like a Tolkien situation where
Yeah.
the story's there.
Right.
He already had it written out.
Yeah. It could be.
It may already be written out. They just need to get it to paper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To get it worked, to get it produced and edited and finalized.
I don't believe a chapter's gone out since Mira passed away, but I haven't read any of them to know.
Yeah. Well, maybe I don't know. All right. Let's see how it turns out. Berserk. Of that. All right.
Yeah, there hasn't been any new chapters since his passing.
Okay. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on that and see how what comes out of it.
Yeah, for sure. I have one last news topic for you tonight, which is Stardew Valley developer talks his next game, Haunted Chocolatier. Now, this was announced sometime back, but it is time now, I suppose, for the interviews to start happening, you know? And in a lot of ways, it would be really easy for this game to just be Stardew 2, right?
But it's got a Scooby-Doo title.
It does. Haunted Chocolatier. I actually really love the title. Because it's wonderful. But the big thing, and Barone is the last name of the dev. The big thing that Barone is looking for here, Chucklefish is how most people know him, is that he wanted to make something different but still have the heart of Stardew. And the reason he did this interview is because he's been working on this game for a couple years now in the background. But he says, lately, I've just kind of been like, you know what, screw it. If it means a lot of stuff in Stardew Valley was perfect and it doesn't need to be changed, then I'm just going to do it the same way and not worry about it. If people say it's cut and paste Stardew Valley, well, so be it. What do you expect? Do you expect me to make a sports game or a racing game? This is just what I do.
Yeah. It's one of those things you ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, you got big on the art style and stuff you did. You even got ripped off.
Yeah.
You know?
Can't forget that.
All right. So more power to you, man. And yeah, I'm sure it'll do well.
He also gave. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say he seems to have a knack for I don't know, catching playability.
For sure.
Is that maybe a way of putting it? To
answer Chat's question as well, Dark's question, he also talked a little bit more about what you're going to be doing in the game. In Haunted Chocolatier, you run a chocolate shop.
Fair enough.
And to be able to make new types of chocolate, you have to go adventure and gather materials from fighting monsters, mining them, finding them in the environment, to be able to come back and make new kinds of chocolate to be able to sell. But kind of like a recettear, weapon shop fantasy kind of game, but making chocolate. And it'll still have NPCs with stories that you can introduce and people that you can marry and all the stuff that he's known for, you know?
Yeah.
Make chocolate out of iron ore? Heck yeah. Sounds like a great idea. Look, all I'm saying is in Stardew Valley, there is a girl that you can convince to marry you if you just keep giving her amethyst. And when you give it to her, she says, crunchy.
All right, then.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Really?
I do have like one more thing to touch on with the news, which is just, hey, be careful. Be careful where you get your sources. You and I talked about this before the podcast, but there was some news about PlayStation Plus that was going around and how they were going to be adding emulation for PlayStation 3 games. And I spent 20 minutes trying to find the source because multiple news sites put out this article. VGC, VentureBeat, multiple news sites put out this article. And I found the source. It comes from a podcast where the guy says, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to do that. It's probably going to take a while, though.
PlayStation Insider says.
So, yeah. So just,
Oh my goodness.
source your news.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you can stream them, Dark, but they were this new news that was broken was that you would be able to emulate them and you wouldn't have to stream them. You'd be able to download them and play them through emulation. But yeah, no, source your news. You can't just trust something because somebody says it happened.
No. Just double check. Goodness. Emulation.
Yeah, emulation's pretty great too.
Yes.
But yeah, that's our news for the night. Let's throw it over to the Rundgren corner.
Okay. All right. We got a birthday today. I'm gonna say happy birthday to Haley Atwell. Plays Agent Carter. Yeah, plays Agent Carter. I'm sure she's watching. Happy birthday. Yeah. Appreciate you watching. If you could subscribe, that gets even closer to 1,000. Appreciate it. One day we get caught with that. Somebody's actually going to see it.
Yeah, Henry Cavill's going to be in the chat.
Yeah, I'll be like, what?
I'm going to get to that in plugs, Dark. That's coming in plugs.
All right. Here we go. All right. So I found the story is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I'd like to give credit where credit's due, even if it is the Irish.
My people.
So as usual, Ireland's census this year, 2022 census, asks for people's names, ages, and relationships. But it's also got this thing. It's got a little blank page on the end of it. It's called a time capsule feature.
Yeah.
That will be government sealed for 100 years.
Okay.
So at the end of this year's census form, people were given a chance to voluntarily add a time capsule message, which is set to remain private until 2122. It's meant to leave a message for future generations. So the census took place Sunday. Encouraged those filling out the voluntary form to consider what insights descendants might be able to learn about life in 2022, a century from now. Will they feel a strong connection with us, as we do now when we look up the individual census records from 1901 and 1911, the census website asked. People took different approaches to the time capsule, using it as a space to tell future readers about themselves or things that that aren't in the census.
Right.
One Twitter user filled a page with a musical score.
Nice.
Also, somebody drew an illustration of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars, because of course they did. One user used the space for a comic. Yeah. Now, one lady whose Twitter handle is Amy KD Wall, I kind of like the approach it took to her, and I think it helped her out. Because she posted after filling out, she was feeling such comfort today after filling in the time capsule section of the Census 2022 last night. Estlin was counted in a sentence, but 100 years was never counted. Estlin never was counted in a sentence, and Estlin was a child that she lost, very young.
Oh, okay.
Never counted in a census, but 100 years from now she'll be remembered, and our ancestors will be able to read about her. Just incredible. And it was just a thought for the mother that 100 years from now, this child that never got counted in a census.
Yeah.
Is going to get.
That's really cool.
Her name's going to be, in the record. But Ireland takes their census every 5 years. In the U.S., we do it every 10. They release their records every 72 years. So Friday, before they took the new census, all the 1950 census was made public. But this year was the first time that they did the time capsule thing, and of course, a lot of people didn't do it, didn't worry about anything, but some people really took advantage of it. And I said in at least one case, kind of a therapeutic use of it,
for sure.
And I think she got out of that. And I think it's just a really kind of an interesting idea. I don't trust the government for crap. To keep stuff private. I mean, that's the other side of it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But it is something that is something I think is, hey, 100 years from now, barring, catastrophic events, there will be personal notes, not just the historical record, but personal notes of what life was like. I think it's really cool. So it was just kind of a short story tonight, but one I thought was interesting, and it gave me something to think about for, just like how we do our census here, and what is the important stuff that needs to be, written down and remembered.
Oof.
I was not able to.
Fun.
What? Able to get help on for utilities because they
U.S. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bureaucracy. There's actually a theory. And I'll blow it. I will mess this up. But there's 5 stages of civilization. The last one's the age of bureaucracy. The
Yeah.
United States got to the age of bureaucracy faster than any civilization in history.
Yeah. Hey, I'll never forget. I bought this house that was used when my uncle bought it. He paid taxes on it when he bought it, even though it was used. Moved it to this property, had to pay taxes on it to move it to this property. Then when I bought it from him, I had to pay taxes for it again. Even though taxes already been paid 3 times on this property. Doesn't make any sense, but okay.
Yeah. No, really, I don't get it, but it is.
What can you do?
Too much money per year. Yep. Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous. I know, and like we're at some point in time, if you've had to deal with the government, it's never going to be quick and painless.
What can you do?
Drug out.
I'll move back to Ireland.
Well, no. The well, it's just a little thing here. They want you to give up.
Yeah, they do.
They want you to give up and stop asking and stop trying to get help, so they don't have to pay for it. I mean, that's their goal, honestly.
That's right.
And that's not speculation. But enough of that for tonight.
Well, speaking of help, my first plug tonight is a pretty interesting thing I think you might like. Yes, the accent's very nice. I watched a video this last week from Iron Pineapple that I want to plug, who did a run of Elden Ring without attacking. So using the Ash summons, using exploits to be able to drop enemies off cliffs, never did a single point of damage to get to the end. And it was really interesting to see because most of it was, I just need to keep this summon alive and keep healing it at the cost of not being able to do damage on my own. And this fight's going to take 20 minutes now. And if I make a mistake and it dies, I have to restart. But
yeah, because you can't resummon.
Right. So it was a pretty interesting video. And he did another video not that long ago trying to beat the game at level 1, which was really interesting as well. So just if you want to see some cool challenge runs, I recommend Iron Pineapple. Because that was a really interesting video to see.
Right on, man. Man, it's like those people that do the no-hit runs.
Yeah.
In Dark Souls.
Well,
go ahead. Go ahead. You.
To spoil one little thing about the video, there's an item you can use in the game that will force your summon to attack a specific enemy. So like in multi-stage boss fights or where there's multiple enemies, you can have it focus one. But when it's a thrown item, and you have to throw it at the enemy, and it causes a point of damage. So he couldn't use it.
No.
So he couldn't use that item at all. And it made it really interesting to see him have to play around that. But...
Whoo. No, thank you. I'm not doing it. Ooh,
fun stuff.
That's rough. That's dedication right there.
Just the moment in the video where you see him throw it, and it does the single point of damage, he goes, "Oh."
Daggone.
Yeah. Then I have another plug, which is that I had a really interesting discussion with Aki from Indie Gamer Team, and that went up Monday. It was a lot of fun,
yeah, it was good.
I'm hoping that it seems like people like it well enough. I'm hoping that they do, because I had a blast doing it, and it's a lot of fun just talk about what it is like to review video games, which is very strange in the course of reviewing things, right? When you look at reviewing video games versus books or movies or those things.
Yeah.
Sound like a boy, it's terrible. It was great.
It was a good interview. It was hilarious. It was great. Y'all got into some good stuff. Even on all the rambling, y'all got some pertinent information there, man. It was good. I
think so too. I really had a good time with it. Please check that out if you haven't. It is, what did I call it? It's what is it like reviewing games?
Yep.
Aki from Indie Gamer Team.
What do you? Yes, you sound like an arrogant shit, Dark. Guess what? The grass outside my house is green as well. No, I'm giving you a hard time. You sounded really good, and you had some valid points. It's all right. You did well.
Yeah,
you did well.
Yeah, it was a good discussion for sure. Do you have any plugs?
No, not really. I have been like in this cave and doing stuff in the studio and taking care of that. Like I said, but the only thing I had was Lotro. Wait till the 15th.
Yeah,
and then download it and make your character. Let's go through that. Because everything's going to be free.
Ever been interviewed before in any way? It was fun. I had a lot of fun too. It was really interesting.
Yeah. We'll do that. We will be back on Thursday.
Yes.
We have some more in Chapter 8 for D&D to talk about on the DM side of things a little bit.
Time for sleepy times.
We've got what else you got coming out this week?
We have this podcast, of course, will go up tomorrow. The boss ranking video will go up Thursday. Okay. And then probably some highlights from this one, as they almost always are. There's a lot of cool stuff coming there. And then I have a first impressions for Warhammer 40K Mechanicus will be coming up soon. And then hopefully be able to get one of the other videos that I want to get done for next week.
All right. Any hot topic for next Tuesday?
So far, not that we know of, but my expectation, let me pull back up Open Critic. My expectation is we're not going to have any big releases, but I expect we're probably going to get because E3's dead, we're probably going to get some Sony State of Play announcement. I don't think we'll actually get the State of Play, but I think we'll get an announcement for one coming up.
Yeah.
And then I think we'll get whatever Xbox is going to do in response to that, since they're not going to have E3 this year now. There's no way they wait until the Game Awards.
No, and I'm kind of looking forward to it going back to you promote your games, right?
Yes, I agree.
Nintendo, you can promote your games. Sony, you promote your games. Xbox, promote yours. And then, we'll have, if we need like an E3 or a game. Yeah. The only thing that needs to be there is independent developers.
I agree.
We don't need AAA studios there.
I agree. I do still think we'll have, and I meant to mention this earlier, I do still think we'll have the Indie Gaming Hour and the Indie Gaming Show that are run by a couple different sites. I think that we'll still get that for sure, because the Indie Gaming Showcase is like a really big thing. I think Greg Miller's still doing that, but they just showcase like, hey, here's 80 indie games currently being made that all look cool. And here's the dev to talk about them for a minute. And that kind of thing, I think, still has a place without
it does.
E3.
Yeah. But that's what we need, because they don't have the marketing behind it. You're going to get your YouTube advertisement for the next game coming out, the next big game coming out for one of the big three studios. It's going to pop up on your newsfeed when you bring up your Xbox, you turn on your PlayStation screen, or your Nintendo, go to the Nintendo shop. You're going to get those handed to you. Yeah. So we don't need AAA studios doing something like that. We need the independent game, a little more independent. The guys and gals that do not have the backing to throw into marketing like that, that bring those up. And that becomes a show worth watching, because you're not going to hear the buzzwords.
Right.
You're going to get people talking about passion projects. And I think that would be a lot better.
Also, I've just remembered I received code for a game this week that I will try and get a video out for next week.
Okay.
Should be able to talk about it by next week, I think. So we'll see, but I'll leave it at that for now, just in case, make sure everything's covered. But
right on.
Yeah. Also, real quick, if you see this for some reason and are also a reviewer, and you want to have a discussion like we had with Aki, hit me up either in the comment section and give me some links to be able to look at your stuff, or hit me up on Twitter or the Full Spectrum Podcast at gmail.com to be able to let us know. But can you hit me up and do it again? We'll see. Because I did have a really good time. But it's a topic that I really want to hear more perspectives on, and not perspectives on Twitter. I really want to have conversations with people about it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's been a pretty good podcast. I think. Don't forget
Yeah.
Thursday, and then next Tuesday, and the next Thursday, and Lord willing, we'll just keep going.
Absolutely. And keep listening because hopefully we'll have, as the year goes on,
Yeah.
some of the ideas and stuff that we've been talking about will be coming into fruition. In time soon.
For sure.
Trademark, patent pending.
That'd be awesome, Dark. With all that said, then
Yes, absolutely. Please do that, Dark.
I've been
All right.
Trey.
I've been Rungren.
We've been the Full Spectrum Podcast. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that life has to offer.